The city never sleeps. Manhattan's streets were alive with the usual symphony of horns, chatter, and footsteps echoing off concrete walls. But on that cold December morning in 2024, one man's routine walk to work would end in chaos, shaking the city to its core. Brian Thompson, the CEO of one of America's largest health insurance companies, moved confidently through the streets, unaware that someone had been watching him for days. From the shadows, a figure observed every movement. Every step Thompson took was calculated, every route scrutinized. The streets around him seemed ordinary, but danger lurked in the quiet corners. The figure, a young man, calm, methodical, and determined, waited for the exact moment to strike. And then it happened. A gunshot rang out, echoing against the steel and glass of towering skyscrapers. Panic erupted. People screamed and scattered. Brian Thompson collapsed. The masked man disappeared into the chaos, leaving behind a trail of questions that no one could immediately answer. Who was this man? Why did he do it? Brian Thompson was a man of contrasts. To the world, he was a leader, a visionary shaping the future of healthcare. His decisions affected millions, and his influence was vast. Friends described him as a devoted father and husband, someone who could light up a room with a smile or command it with a glance. Yet, behind the accolades and boardroom successes, there was controversy. Critics accused him of favoring profit over people, of making decisions that enriched the company while leaving ordinary citizens frustrated and helpless. It was in this environment of power, scrutiny, and resentment that the seeds of tragedy were sown. Across the country, Luigi Mangione, a 26-year-old Ivy League graduate, had been watching, calculating, and planning. On the surface, he was unremarkable, a brilliant mind in technology and engineering, quietly navigating his world. But beneath that calm exterior simmered a dangerous combination of obsession, frustration, and disillusionment. Mangione had grown increasingly angry at the healthcare system, convinced it exploited the vulnerable while protecting the powerful. He posted his thoughts online, not as a cry for help, but as a manifesto of anger. Every message, every comment, revealed a mind consumed by resentment. Some dismissed him as just another disgruntled citizen. Others, in hindsight, would realize these were warning signs. Days before the murder, Mangione began to follow Thompson's routines. Every route, every appearance, every predictable movement was cataloged. He acquired tools, researched methods, and prepared meticulously. It wasn't just planning, it was an obsession, a story of a mind fixated on a single, irreversible goal. On December 9, 2024, the city witnessed the culmination of this obsession. Surveillance cameras captured Mangione moving with precision. One moment, Thompson was walking to his office. The next, a gunshot shattered the morning calm. People screamed, offices locked down, and the city collectively held its breath. By the time the authorities arrived, the assailant had vanished into the urban maze. The manhunt that followed was relentless. Law enforcement traced digital footprints, analyzed surveillance footage, and pieced together the chilling timeline. 5 days later, Mangione was arrested in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Authorities recovered a 3D printed firearm, a silencer, and a manifesto detailing his motivations. The writings revealed a mind convinced of the righteousness of his actions, someone who saw murder not as a crime, but as a statement. The nation watched as the trial unfolded. Mangione's calm demeanor in court contrasted sharply with the chaos his actions had caused. The prosecution painted him as a cold, calculating murderer, while the defense emphasized his disillusionment with a system he believed was broken. Public opinion was divided. On social media, some hailed him as a misguided vigilante. Others condemned him as a killer who had crossed an unthinkable line. Inside the courtroom, every piece of evidence, every testimony added tension. Mangione's online posts were read aloud, each word a glimpse into the mind of a man who had blurred the line between grievance and violence. Witnesses described him as intelligent, methodical, and unnervingly calm. Meanwhile, family members of Thompson spoke of loss, grief, and the shock of seeing a loved one taken so violently. The investigation revealed more than just the murder. It exposed the fragility of safety, the dangers of obsession, and the consequences of systemic failures. How had someone so young, so educated, and so seemingly ordinary become capable of such an act? Could the warning signs have been detected? And if a system designed to protect can fail in such a catastrophic way, what does that say about the safeguards society depends on? The story also highlighted the human cost of power. Thompson's colleagues and employees grappled with fear, loss, and the unsettling realization that no amount of corporate success could shield them from unforeseen violence. Communities debated responsibility, ethics, and justice. The narrative became not just about a murder, but about the tension between individuals, institutions, and the society that connects them. As the trial continued, Mangione's motives remained under scrutiny. Was this act a desperate plea for recognition, a protest against injustice, or simply the culmination of personal obsession? The legal system, the media, and the public sought answers, but some questions remained intentionally unanswered, left to linger in the minds of those following the case. In reflecting on these events, one must consider the larger implications. The assassination of Brian Thompson forces society to confront uncomfortable truths, the consequences of neglect, the dangers of obsession, and the fragility of the structures we trust. It reminds us that behind every headline lies a complex web of human emotions, decisions, and consequences. The streets of Manhattan eventually returned to their normal rhythm. Offices reopened. Life went on. But for those who knew Brian Thompson, and for those who followed Luigi Mangione's story, nothing would ever be the same. This was not just a crime, it was a mirror reflecting human vulnerability, societal tension, and the extreme lengths to which some will go when they feel unheard. What could have prevented this tragedy? Could signs have been spotted earlier, systems strengthened, or warnings taken seriously? And most importantly, in a society that prides itself on law and justice, how many others are silently simmering, waiting for the right moment to take action? If this story gripped you, and you want to follow the deepest, most shocking cases from around the world, make sure to subscribe. You won't want to miss our next investigation into the truths hidden behind the headlines.